Morning sun, it's wooden floor. I hold my warm cup of tea. The air is quiet and still today. I feel the peace inside of me. My old books on the shelf, they tell stories of my past. I look around this little room and I see beauty in the simple things. My heart begins to feel full with the comfort this moment brings. I am grateful for what I already have. I honor it every day.
Welcome. We're gonna get started in just a minute.
Move with the morning, move with the light. Miracles I find in me, everything feels right. Joy in the rhythm, gold in the air. Miracles I find in me, everywhere. Miracles I find in me today. Good things are moving my way. Abundance is flowing naturally. Joy is rising all around me. Miracles I find in me today. I receive it when I say my heart is open, my life is glowing, everything good is on the way. Miracles finding me today. I wake up ready for something bright. Golden rhythm in the morning light. Every little step I take makes a beautiful life awake. I don't have to chase the sign. What is mine arrives on time. Every beat and every sound brings more blessings all around. Love is near, peace is here. Money flows with ease and cheer. Open doors, golden signs. Miracles are right on time. I feel it in my body, I feel it in my soul. The good life is moving, and I'm ready for more. I lift my hands higher, I let the light stay. Miracles are finding me today. Miracles are finding me today. Good things are moving my way. Abundance is flowing naturally. Joy is rising all around me. Miracles are finding me today. I receive it when I say my heart is open, my life is glowing, everything good is on the way. Finding me today. Good things moving my way. I receive, finding me today. I move with joy, I move with ease. Good vibes riding on the breeze. Every worry fades away when I choose the good today. Golden chances, love comes through. Beautiful answers, feel brand new. Opportunities, no
We're gonna get started with the book study in just a minute. Thank y'all for joining. Hope everyone's having a great day. Most fabulous, fantabulous day.
Joy is rising all around. Miracles are finding me too. I receive it when I say my heart is open, my life is glowing, everything good is on the way. Finding me today. Moving my way. I receive, finding me today. Move with the miracle, move with the light, move with the rhythm, everything feels right. Bounce with the abundance, shine with the sound. Miracles are finding me all around. Finding me now, joy rising now. Good things moving, blessings are flowing. Finding me now, abundance today. Miracles are coming in a beautiful way. I don't need to know how, I don't need to know just open my heart and let the good begin. One little yes, one open door, one golden moment can bring me home. I choose joy, I choose grace, I choose receiving in this place. No need to force, no need to chase. Miracles are finding me in a beautiful way. Miracles are finding me too. Good things are moving my way. Abundance is flowing naturally. Joy is rising all around me. Miracles are finding me too. I receive it when I say my heart is open, my life is flowing. Everything good is on the way. Miracles are finding me too.
I always find the perfect music for dance therapy when I'm not doing dance therapy. This one's a good one. Hi, done, son. Thank you for liking the live.
Blessings on the way. Abundance is flowing. Everything feels bright today. Miracles are finding me. Things move for me. Positive energy flows so naturally. Finding me now, finding me now. Miracles finding me now. Joy is rising, blessings flowing. Good things moving today. Miracles are finding me. Blessings on the way. I receive it, I believe it. Everything feels right today. Miracles are finding me. Good things move for me.
Divine.
And powerful rises.
How are you?
Girl, you woke up from a good ass nap. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's a little rainy here, so it's one of them days. But my garden is loving it, so I ain't complaining at all.
What you growing in your garden?
I done planted some of everything. Now, what's growing is a good question. Sometimes I'll be having to look it up because stuff will sprout up like 2 seasons later.
It's
But
real.
what I planted this season, I planted some squash. I have some onions that's been growing since last season and some greens. And I planted some more greens and some beans, a few different kind of beans.
Dope.
I planted some watermelon and some cantaloupe. I really ain't seen much results from them. I have a lot of animals in my yard, so I don't know if they get into the seeds before before they're able to sprout. I'm assuming, all of the above, but what processes and grows is what's meant to be. So I said I always wanted a community garden. I just didn't know it would be like this.
It's so funny. No, and I believe you too, because them deer do be coming after them watermelon and cantaloupe. That's all they be looking for.
Not deer, because I'm not that far out now, and I'm fenced in, but I have squirrels always in my yard, cats, birds, and then all kind of insects. Like I just had to spray my greens down today because the first batch that came in, the worms tore them up. And I have onions growing right next to them, which I thought would deter them, but baby, that didn't work. But it might be because they're in a whole nother pot. So I'm learning. I just be throwing stuff in the dirt, see what's gonna grow.
That's fine though. I loved it.
My mama had a garden when I was little, so I feel like I should know a little bit. So when I don't know something, I'm quick to ask. And then I follow a lot of people that garden too, so they give a lot of good tips.
Girl, that's gonna be me. That's gonna be all of us really in a few years, but I'm excited about it. Like I'm super excited about it.
Yes, it is exciting. Really, when you go out there and see stuff that's actually growing. Like it's been about two summers when I first started watermelons, and I grew a little bitty baby watermelon, like the size of an orange. and it
Mm-hmm.
was so cute, but it kind of rotted on the bottom. So I realized you have to either keep moving them around, or you could put them in some little bags so the insects and stuff can't get to them once they start growing big enough. So
Yeah, that's cool. That's
yeah,
cool. I've seen people grow the watermelon in a cast so that when they finish growing, they turn out to be a certain shape.
that's I was wondering how they get the shapes, but that makes sense.
Yeah,
Kind of
they do
shape it
that.
the way you want it to.
Man, bro, I want some yellow meat so bad. I just want a watermelon in general.
I've been saying I was gonna go to the farmer's market, and every time I go to a grocery store, I can't find nothing that's not seedless. So I'm gonna pass on that.
I know I had the same damn thoughts. I was like, I can't find nothing that's not seedless. That's the problem. That really is the problem. When I went into the grocery store before I left Kansas City, everything it just didn't look healthy. Like everything looked as soft and mushy. Everything didn't have no seeds in it. It just didn't look appealing.
No, it looks fake.
Yes, it do.
It looks fake, and I be trying to tell, my kids and people like, yo, think about the garden, think about the process. Like, if it don't have seeds, how is it, unless they doing it in a lab or something? It has to be altered some kind of way, shape, or form. But I don't think people even take their mind there to even think about it because they don't want to. And it's like, I want to know. I want to know what I'm putting in my body, and I
No,
don't
these
get them
motherfuckers
not
don't
going.
care. If they
Yeah.
still pulling up at the drive through, you know they don't care. They don't care what's going in their body at all. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I know I got some bad habits that I'm working on. So, we all have to learn. It's just one of those things. As we learn, though, we have to make those changes.
Real.
So, what book you want to read today? I'm gonna go over the Gap and the Black Wall Street story, and we can go back and forth.
I'm gonna do get out the cave and get in the field, and I have the codex pulled up. I'm gonna let you go first because I gotta use the restroom.
Got you. So this is the Gap and the Black Wall Street story. Gap meaning Greenwood, Archer, and Pine. This story is about Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is my hometown. So this is the first series to I don't know how many I'm gonna do, but it's the first series to this story because I want to, of course, keep digging and keep digging. And I'm going to complete the story as I find more information. So I grew up with a good friend. His name is Demario, and he's an attorney, and he's been back and forth. I call him D, but he's been back and forth to the Capitol with some of the survivors of Black Wall Street, trying to get some kind of justice or get some kind of acknowledgement for, this madness. And of course, every time they've shot the cases down for some way, shape, or form. And it's just something to talk about. It's something to inform people about, just because a lot of people don't know the story. And I feel like it's important, and it's really important to me because a lot of us that was born right there, we weren't taught anything about this story. And the weird thing about his story and my story is that we weren't taught anything in Tulsa, Oklahoma, but we learned about it when we moved, like, out of the state. So I'm in Texas, and I believe he's in Washington right now with his family. And so, like, we're in different states, but I'm thinking about the state because he wasn't in that state when he went to college. He was in another state when he went to college. It wasn't Oklahoma, but he talked about I posted an interview about him kind of arguing with his instructor about this information, because his instructor was telling him in college, and he was like, we're thinking that it was something we would learn from our parents or from our ancestors, but it was one of those things that nobody wanted to talk about. So the first page of the book says, Remembering Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma Massacre, destroyed in 1921. And it was May 31st, 1921 to June 1st, 1921. So that's why they call it a massacre, because it was a whole weekend of chaos. So I took a lot of pictures when I went down to the new Greenwood is what they call it. And they have a lot of plaques up. They have a whole area kind of dedicated to telling the story. So I just took a lot of pictures that I added into the book. And one of the first pictures is, it says the 1921 race riot destruction damage claims. And it has like a list of all the things that were destroyed business wise. And it was over $2 million in unpaid financial claims. Recognized as the single worst incident of racial injustice, 18 hours of violent turmoil, racial bias and hate, over 1,000 homes and businesses destroyed, including undocumented amount of indigenous people that did not survive to tell their story. And we are talking about the indigenous aboriginal people, like the real indigenous people, right? So then there is a dedication to Katie Duckery. She was born in 1889 to 1978. In this book, we will recognize and honor each business lost on Black Wall Street, currently known as the historical Greenwood District. And then there's a picture reference that shows you information about the historical Greenwood District and why they built it in dedication to Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street extended over 3 miles from Greenwood, Archer, and Pine Street. And this is where the infamous Gap Band from Tulsa created their name. So I have my late uncle and my dad went to school, which is the high school was Booker T. Washington, with Charlie Wilson, and they were classed in 1971. And he later became the member of the epic band, the Gap Band. So if you go back and listen to some of their music, like I posted something on, I think last week about the song They Dropped a Bomb on Us from the Gap Band. So, if you listen to the words and kind of understand what they're saying and understand some of their music, it relates to Black Wall Street. So I'm going to list some of the businesses just to honor them. One of the first businesses is attorney I.H. Spears. There was another attorney's office, which was Bashir and Franklin. There was a doctor's office named R.T. Bridgewater. There was a shoe shop called Nails Brothers Shoes. There was a photography office called Hooker Photography. And I also included the addresses, and I included the plaques that they had. They have them lined up on the street in the new Greenwood district. And one of the things that I didn't like in doing this research, I feel like that there's a way that you can dedicate, to people. But I didn't like the fact that these plaques were on the ground. I felt like they should have had some kind of way where they put the plaques on the buildings where they're not being stepped on, because I just didn't understand, the plaques being on the ground. And I didn't like that. But, that's just my personal opinion. I feel like, something is under your shoe or something. People, of course, I walked around them, but of course they were dirty. Of course they were tarnished. I feel like they should be kept up really well, and they should be in a place where no one's stepping on them. So there's a hotel called the Gurley Hotel. There's a cafe called Little Pullman Cafe. There was a clothing store called Elliott and Hooker Clothing. There was a newspaper, like a newspaper business called Oklahoma Sun. And if you know how to do some research, you can pull up articles from Oklahoma Sun. There was a hotel called Royal Hotel. There was a doctor's office called Dr. James Key. There was another doctor's office called Dr. P.S. Thompson. There was a cafe called Hughes Cafe. And another doctor's office called Dr. Wesley Jones. There was a theater, Dreamwood Theater. You can go and watch movies with your family. So this is why they say it was a full-fledged community, because it was equipped with everything that you would need in any community, right? So it was self-sufficient. There was another grocery store called the Union Grocery. There was a business called the Colored Insurance Association. And another thing that I found out is that all the insurance buildings were destroyed first. All the buildings that held all the records were destroyed first. So then when people were trying to go back and claim this and claim that, they had no proof of anything. All the records were destroyed. So this was one of the claims. Well, how do we know this and how do we know that? There was another doctor's office called Dr. A.J. Whitley. Dr. A.J. Whitley. There was a business called Meeks Building. A real estate office called Gentry Real Estate. Yes, it was the best. How are you, goddess? There was another grocery store called Duncan and Clinton Grocer. Duncan and Clinton Grocer. There was another business called Williams Building. Earl's Real Estate. Dr. Travis. And then, so that was a list of the plaques that I took pictures of. Then there's a mural, Black Wall Street mural, and so they made like a poem out of all the words in Black Wall Street. And it's really nice. That's a picture reference. Then there is another picture reference that lists a lot of people that they just dedicated like in memory of. Really nice plaques. And those look like they were made out of something really nice, because like some kind of marble or something, because they weren't tarnished or anything. So I like the way that they looked. They were really looked really nice. So I went into some of the businesses. I met a young lady that owns a corner store. It's called the Black Wall Street Corner Store. And she has a big plaque on the wall when you walk in, and her location is where Dillard's Shoe Shine Parlor was. And so she dedicates that her new business into the old business that used to reside there. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I just took a lot of pictures downtown. Some other things that I didn't like was that there was some high rises downtown, and there's two museums, which when you do your research and find out who has rebuilt Black Wall Street or the memory of Greenwood, it's not us. So, and then when you look at the people that live in the high rises, it's not us either. So if you on some of the plaques that's on the ground, when you read at the bottom of them, some of them say that the business was rebuilt and restored, and that was a lie as well. Because when I asked my mom, and she said that the land was destitute for years, like it became like a really bad area that people stayed away from. And so what they did is they eminent domained it, and they put a highway right through it. And none of the buildings were rebuilt. And then for the people that's going back and forth to court now that I mentioned earlier, that's why I mentioned them, because if you see how the courts treated them, there hasn't never been any justice for it. So how and when were these people compensated and these buildings rebuilt? So it's kind of like the city, they came in, the government, just like they brought the people in to, poom, poom, pow, pow. And they took over after those years, and they used that, it was destitute to eminent domain, that land, and take it. It says, as of today, there is yet to be any justice, reimbursement, or even acknowledgement for the real devastation caused by our government, except for these plaques put in place. Yes, there are new businesses thriving in the same district, but they're paying for the spaces just like any other business owner would. I also noticed high rises and other business owners or businesses owned by others thriving as well off the land of our ancestors. There has been numerous court cases recently where the last remaining survivors of the immediate descendants are asking for some type of closure, only to be turned away, case closed. So no justice has been served, and the indigenous aboriginals of Oklahoma just want closure. Records have been destroyed, so we have nothing to connect our ancestors to. I also saw something recently where they were digging somewhere in Tulsa, and they found some jewels and stuff that was buried. And another story that my mom told me is that people had to flee, and they had to flee so fast, and a lot of them had to flee on foot, that they started burying stuff. So now, when you have people that go in, and I've heard other stories over the years, but people who go in and, uproot that land to build or to do something else with that property, and they find this stuff, and then they're like, oh, well, we wonder how. But then they put it in a museum, and they never do any research to find out, okay, who owned this property and where did this stuff come from, to make sure that their descendants could get it. So it is what it is. This book is available in hard copy or not hard copy, in a paperback, or you could get a digital copy of it. And I'm going to do some more research and put some more plaques in the next book and continue to tell the story, because it is an amazing story, just like other stories that we have heard in other states. So, it's good to get the message out. Just